What's up, everybody? I'm Jesse Ziegler.
And I'm Quinn Cody.
And this is the KLIM Dakar Rally Daily Show. Thank you so much for joining us. We're here with Stage 1 show, and a lot has already happened, including a lot of time being lost by people that aren't in the top 5.
Big day on the rally. First day, everybody's kind of shaking it out. You know, yesterday was the prologue, and now we have our first real stage, and I think it caught a few guys off guard.
Yeah, it sure did. Shout out to our sponsors right away before we get into the details. Number one, obviously, KLIM Technical Riding Gear. Their motorcycle division is blowing up every year. Please go check them out. We have a couple presenting sponsors this year, as we do every year. Rally Navigator's number one on top of that list. They've been with us since the beginning. You know, Mike and crew up there just jumped in to support us. It is the software to develop your own routes, your own navigation, you know, road book that is basically exactly the same that they use in the rally. And then Baja Rally, I got this right today, Baja Rally down in Mexico, starting in September. You go to BajaRallyMoto.com, not BajaRally.com. That's a different URL. Go to BajaRallyMoto.com and you can sign up for an actual rally race in North America. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's really one of the only opportunities, and I believe was the first opportunity to really race rally in North America.
Yep, for sure. There's more opportunities out there too, but Baja's on board as an official sponsor. We're trying to get their start list filled up with as many people as possible. So if you're even curious about it, just commit now, buy all the parts to do it later, and figure it out. That's how we started the podcast. We just figured it out.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah, just don't be scared. Just go out and try things you don't know how to do. That's what life's all about. Speaking of not knowing how to do anything, tell me what happened today. I don't really understand. Every year I get confused about timing and strategy and starting up front, starting in the back. So let's give a refresh on how this is working out for everybody.
I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Yesterday I said Daniel Sanders was going to win the stage, and he did.
Here we go again.
I don't know what more to say.
Just keep saying Daniel Sanders is going to win every day, and you're going to be 100%. You haven't missed one yet this year.
Well, all right, 2 for 2.
2 for 2.
Too bad we canceled the fantasy league this year. I'd be probably still losing.
Yeah, inside information. I actually canceled it because I got sick of getting beat by you by one more thing in my life. Don't need that anymore. Yeah. So yeah, Daniel went out, put the hammer down, and put some time on people today.
Yes, he did. You know, we're seeing this top 3 start to, you know, kind of the cream rise to the top here, and you know, our 3 really strongest dudes are up front, and no surprises there.
Yeah, that's true. Daniel put in about 2 minutes over second place Ricky Brabec today on the stage. I think that's the stage. Nope, that's the overall.
Yep.
Yeah, so still same. About 2 minutes on Ricky and about another 20 seconds on Ross. So really 2.5 minutes separating the top 3 today. Kind of mirrors the overall. Obviously, we're not that deep into the race, so there's not that big of a time gap. So yeah, 2 minutes and 40 seconds is the gap between the top 3, and that's just the front runners separating themselves and really showing who's going to be leading.
And this was a big loop out of Bisha. It was, I think, 470 some kilometers, and so they ended up back at the same bivouac that they started at. Very, very short liaison stage, and you know, so it was a lot of racing, and it sounds like it was a little bit tighter, a little bit more rocky than what the guys expected.
A little more dust too involved, which is something that we didn't know what the conditions necessarily were on the ground, but it sounds like they've had some big dust storms come through and just blow the crap out of the terrain, and that's probably just dried it out even more. No rain yet this year that we've had in years past. Yeah. And I think they're dealing with some dust and rocks, and it's catching people out like it happened to Harith Noah yesterday in the prologue. We lost another guy today, Sebastian Bueller, Ross Branch's teammate on the Hero. He went out with broken collarbone.
Yeah, I think pretty early in the stage, Sebastian went down. Skylar Howes was the next rider on the scene, and so he stopped and spent about 10 minutes with Bueller. And then, you know, the organization credited back Skylar's time. So Skylar ended up finishing 4th on the day.
Yep. Again, reminder to people that aren't that familiar, that's something that the organization has implemented almost and faster every year. They're giving time back if you stop and help an injured rider or someone that needs assistance that could be an emergency situation. The ASO is going to give you that time back. And so you're not, you know, they want safety to be paramount out there because it's so remote.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, the the next rider is usually always the first guy on the scene.
Yeah.
And, you know, so they really push for guys to stop and take care of their fellow competitors. And that's really what it's all about out there, right? Is everybody's looking out for each other. The organization has gotten a lot faster with these time credits, and, you know, with the technology now, with all the new GPS and cameras and digital roadbook stuff, they've gotten a lot quicker with crediting the time back. In the old days, you used to have to write a handwritten petition, explain what happened, and then they would go into the data and they would look at it, and then maybe 2-3 days later, you'd get your time back.
So it would be like a mystery until you get down the road a little bit.
Yeah, and so your start position would be affected. Maybe your result would be, you know, 20th on the stage when you actually, on time, you finished 5th or whatever.
Yeah, sure. So that can really affect your days, as we're going to find out after we get into start orders and stuff for stage 2A and 2B in the next couple of days. That start order is crucial now from the get-go. These guys that started in the back today, if you remember, Daniel Sanders started in 23rd today, 23rd position. So he chose
to start in 23rd.
Yeah, correct. Not so. He chose, and he had to catch all day, didn't have to do a lot of navigating, had to do a lot of confirming navigation, but he wasn't being chased. He was being the chaser, and it really worked out for him, obviously. He put some time on people. Down to 4th place there. Skyler ended up in 4th after he got his time back. He's just about 5 minutes behind. Not a problem, but after that, it starts growing pretty rapidly. Tasha's right behind him. Tasha Sharina on the Honda in 5th place. He's 5:07 behind, and then big jump to 6th place, 10 minutes and 42 seconds actually to Luciano Benavides.
Yeah, basically the gap doubles right there. You know, you have the top 5 within 5 minutes, and then another 5-minute gap back to 6th. So
yeah,
Luciano lost a little bit of time. I think he was in kind of no man's land. I forget his starting position yesterday, but it was kind of in the middle. So he probably got up near the front, and it seemed like some guys were making some navigation errors and losing some time up there. So I think Luciano may have just dropped off the tail end of the lead group there.
Yeah. It seems to be that the favorites are really separating themselves from competition already in this race. And it's hard not to get ahead of yourself at Dakar, especially for me personally, because I've never been there and I don't understand exactly how much chaos is there. But it looks like these guys, I mean, you could go to top 5 after today and they're just separating themselves from the field, because there's a big difference between having 5 minutes down and 10 minutes down. It's hard to make up 10 minutes.
Well, I mean, you have to wait for someone else. You're not making anything up. You're waiting for someone else to make a mistake. And which any of these top 3 are one mistake away from being 10, 20, 30 minutes down.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yep. And, so you see Quintanilla, he's back in 7th place on the factory Honda, 11 minutes, 6 seconds back.
Yep.
Van Beveren, Jesse's man crush is 14:44 back.
That was 2 years ago. I have new man crushes now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he's almost 15 minutes out. He is 15 minutes out. So that's getting into the bigger time. And then Nacho, who led today, Nacho had a pretty great day out in front. I don't think he made any navigation errors. I think he was just, at the mercy of being the first guy on course. I think he led, after a few kilometers. He caught Belushi and cooked out there for sure. I think he had a great ride up front, as he often does. And he didn't, considering where he had to start, he had a pretty good day.
Yeah, he collected 5 minutes and 35 seconds of opening bonus. And so that gave him, he finished 18 minutes off of the lead. So, I mean, it's a big chunk of time to lose on the first day. It's not, not ideal, but the bonus helped him. I mean, he would have been, 23 minutes back. So it kept him in there.
Yep. Up next behind him is Brad Cox. He was Rally 2 for the last few years, but now he's back in the Rally GP class. He is 27 minutes back overall in the top 10, and that's the gap to top 10. There's a few people missing out of there that we saw yesterday, notably Edgar Knet, who got tied for second basically in the prologue. He really dropped off today. Looks like he had a bit of a navigation snafu out there. Mason Klein dropped a little bit today.
this is Edgar's first ever Dakar stage.
I'm already holding him to much higher standard.
He's 19 years old, and the kid finished 15th on his first ever Dakar stage, which
he's doing fine.
I would say pretty impressive.
He's doing fine.
We have our expectations are a little high because he's on a factory Red Bull KTM bike, but Edgar, he lost 32 minutes today to the leaders, but he's still in the race.
If he doesn't want me to judge him as a top contender, he shouldn't get second place in a stage.
Yeah, well,
tough crowd around here. If you do good at all ever, you're always held to that standard here.
Right.
If you do well, I'm going to expect you to do well every day.
Yeah. Another guy who it looks like was a little bit off the pace today is Kevin Benavides, coming back from that massive injury.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it was navigation or just, trying to readjust to the speed. And, he's been off the bike for a long time. But
plus, he had an unfavorable starting position, I think, today. He wasn't up soon enough to get lead out bonus time. He missed out on those bonus points that Nacho had because Nacho was in front gobbling him up. Yep. And, he's probably, like you said, shaken out. Injury and, just getting back
right
into
in
racing.
The dust, everything. So Kevin, he lost 34 minutes. That's a tough pill to swallow on day one. He's going to be fighting the whole rest of the race,
which isn't going to make it any easier for him coming up on this marathon stage that we have. So stage 2 tomorrow is actually going to be split over 48 hours. It's got 2A, 2B. Mm-hmm. Big news. It's an inverted start in the morning. So that means Daniel Sanders has a great starting position again, back to back after winning a stage.
Yeah, it's going to be a near repeat of today, aside from this is a 2-part stage. So we're really talking about 2 days of racing.
Yeah.
Basically the guys who, Mohamed Balushi, the guy who started first today, is starting first again tomorrow.
That guy can't catch a break.
No, he's having to lead out 2 stages in a row.
I'll put up the starting list right now. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see how the breakdown's going to go. You see Mohamed Balushi up there, number 1. He's on a Fantic. He's going to be leaving the bivouac at 6 a.m. And then 6:03, Aaron Mare, and you can see it go down. So every 3 minutes, basically, somebody's taken off from this bivouac in the morning until you get down into number 20. There's Daniel Sanders, so he's going to be right behind Ricky, who's right behind Ross, who's right behind Skylar, who's right behind Tasha, and all the way up to Nacho, really in 12th. That's the top 12 people in the world at this, and they're going to be starting in a great position to make up time, not only to A tomorrow, but to B the next day.
Yeah. Another guy we didn't talk about in the results here was Mason Klein. It sounds like Mason had a tough day today. I don't know if there was some navigation. It looked like on the live map he had a little navigation error somewhere along the way, and so Mason ended up finishing 20th on the stage. Lost 35 minutes. Again, tough one to swallow on day one. He was actually the second finishing cove, so his teammate
Niels
Therick.
Yeah, Niels Therick. Right in front of him.
Right in front of him, yeah. Finished 19th, 34:58. So, that's
already a lot to talk about, and already a lot has happened. A little bit of navigation snafu. Oh, if you want to watch some fun navigation video highlights, go to the Dakar website and click on the navigation little clip. It's like a 15-second reel. It's hilarious.
There's a couple of them on there.
I associate very well with that because I have done a navigation rally. No, not a rally, but a road book, and I've done a lot of circles.
Bikes doing circles.
Bikes doing circles is not ideal in rally.
No.
I've learned that quickly.
It's quite common.
It's quite common, yeah.
So that puts Mason starting 5th tomorrow. Maybe he has some opportunity for some bonus time if he's opening. The bonus on tomorrow's stage is going to be 1 second per kilometer,
which is standard, correct? That's the standard FIM bonus per start time. And then
2B, I believe, or I'm sorry, is it 2A that's 1.5 seconds?
No, I think it's 2B.
2B, okay.
Yeah. So 2A is tomorrow.
Yep.
And then 2B is the next day. So it's 2 days of the same stage. And I believe 2A is going to have a 1 second per kilometer bonus. And 2B, they're upping that bonus to 1.5 seconds per kilometer lead out time, which is kind of interesting because you talked about it yesterday. Are they going to be looking at those bonuses as a clue to how tricky the navigation is?
Right.
Or are they going to be looking at those bonuses, and I'm talking about the teams and the riders, to use their day strategy to get a better position to get in front and win that bigger bonus?
I mean, what I see there is the bonus on 2B is incentive for guys not to sandbag on the first part of the stage.
Yeah.
So if that makes sense. So if a guy
sure.
is going in and he's like, I'm gonna back off before the end of the day, so I don't have to lead tomorrow. But then that bonus time is incentive for them to maybe, hey, I want to go all out, because if he's getting 1.5 seconds per kilometer for leading, that's giving him more opportunity to save time. So,
and just to be clear, 2B is not going to be inverted from 2A, I don't believe. I think 2A is an inverted start tomorrow morning. But the end of 2A, you're not going to have an inverted start, because you're going to literally start wherever you finished on 2A in whichever bivouac you go, and normal start procedure.
We should explain this a little more clear. This 2A 2B thing is quite complicated. This is a 48-hour stage. It's over 1,000 kilometers. There's basically 6 camps in the desert that you can stop at.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up a map so you can see how complicated this chaos is for these people if you're watching on YouTube.
So these guys are starting their racing as far as they can. Hopefully, the furthest camp that they can get to is at 671 kilometers. So ideally, the leaders will race all the way. They'll have a 671 kilometer stage tomorrow. Then they're going to sleep in a tent in the desert and eat, some kind of a, packaged meal with maybe hot water and, an MRE or something, some kind of canned food.
Instant noodles.
And then they're going to wake up the next morning and start in the same order that they entered the bivouac. And then finish out the stage. Mm-hmm. Now, what makes this even more complicated is that the cars and the bikes are using different tracks. Mm-hmm. So they're going to be crossing over each other. Then on stage 2B, the second part, the bikes will actually be using some of the outbound car tracks from the day before.
Wow.
So they're going to be riding over some of the same terrain that the cars raced on
the day before.
On stage 2A, backwards.
Oh my gosh.
And entering these tracks, then exiting these tracks, so it can make for some navigation errors because you're on a burned-in track, and then all of a sudden you have to cut off.
This is where, if you just look at this map, or if you just try to visualize, if you're listening on the podcast, what Quinn's talking about, that's the kind of crap that racers and teams have to think about every day.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks. And this is a little overly complicated, but as an organization standpoint, can you imagine laying out 2 parallel routes that intersect and overlap? There's, like you said, there's 6 different bivouac camp points for tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And organizing all the results and timing at all those things.
Yeah, I think a total of
when they take off.
5 refuelings.
5 refueling. That's a lot of gas, because you told us on day 1 that you can go 260 kilometers on a tank of gas.
Yeah. Yep. So it's going to be a complicated stage tomorrow, and
a really complicated 2 days. I think Ricky and everybody have said on their social media that in the next 2 days, it's 1,000 kilometers of timed special test.
Yeah.
That's tons of time to lose if you have a mistake. Like, every kilometer that there is more opportunity to gain time, but also lose time if you have a problem.
Yep.
Sketchy.
All right. Well,
it's gonna be a big day.
Yeah.
Love it.
No, I'm excited about tomorrow. Hopefully, we did a good enough job of explaining this
48-hour chrono
stage.
It's confusing. If you remember last year, most of the guys, they made it all to that last bivouac. Mm-hmm. If you remember, like, it was fairly light navigation to that, so they all just went really fast. They get to the last one and they just had to stop. I think a lot of guys got there way before the time limit even. So it would be interesting to see how people get broken up if they do.
Yeah, we weren't sure if half the leaders were going to be starting from a different bivouac or spending the night in a different camp and not knowing where the other guys were. They all ended up last year in roughly the same spot, and maybe there was a few guys scattered behind that were struggling or whatever.
Turned out to be more of like a complicated marathon stage where they had to like sleep somewhere less comfortable.
You know, the top three now are with this inverted starting order. It could make it a little bit different because the top three, I mean, these guys are going to be starting 45 minutes behind the first guys. So it could technically make things, you know, separate in the bivouac at night. So the guys that are opening the stage may be sleeping in a different place than the guys that are actually leading on time.
Yeah, right. This whole race is just a pile of coulds. This could happen. This could happen. We never know until it happens.
And
I love it.
And then we go a day or two, and then we're into another marathon stage.
Yeah, right before the rest stage. So it's just, they're just hitting them hard this year.
Yeah.
And man, we were right about the rocky terrain. We said that in our preview show, that rocky terrain is going to catch people out and be tricky. And the dust sounded like it was a big factor today too. Even the cars had to deal with dust today a lot. People were hitting bushes and lighting their cars on fire, it sounded like.
Yeah, I mean, we saw, you know, Toby Price and Sam Sunderland. They made it through. I think they were 9th on the stage and in the car. So that was
good job, boys.
It was pretty cool to see. You know, our bike guys are on top of things.
Speaking of on top of things, we're finally getting the racers on site are finally listening to our demands to answer our phone calls, and we got Ricky Brabec today.
Yep.
We might have some Mason Klein action coming in.
I think we do have some Mason Klein coming in.
Which is always good. So it's always good to hear from Mason.
Yep.
We're going to get Ricky on right now and see if we can get him to give us a down low on what happened today.
Hey, Quinn. What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on the show. Yeah, just here in the motorhome chilling. Tomorrow we got the Chrono stage. It's like just under 1,000 kilometers of special over 2 days. Sleeping in the desert under the stars. Looking forward to that. Stage one was fairly decent to us. You know, the navigation was super tricky. Wasn't as fast as we were thinking it was going to be. They ran us through a bunch of thorn bushes all day, so a lot of 90-degree corners and really tight navigational notes, and just, you know, not too much space where it's just wide open. And also we all picked the rear position stars, so that kind of, I don't know if it screwed us, but yeah, we just, you know, we hung out in the dust all day. And then now tomorrow for the Chrono stage, it's reversed order again from today's result. So starting in the back again tomorrow. Good for me. I'm only 2 minutes and change down right now, and then Sanders starts 1 minute behind me tomorrow. So at the end of the day, hopefully, you know, I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't get out of our sights or pass us. So, you know, we're going to do our best to hold the position we're in, and yeah, we're just trying to make it to rest day at this point. The first week's going to be pretty gnarly, so we're definitely looking forward to, you know, ending this week, but also I'm really enjoying this week because next week is a lot of transfers and sand dunes. So if I have a shot at all, you know, it's going to be this week. So we'll just stay positive, stay focused, and we'll make it to rest day. We'll check in with you guys later. Thank you, guys.
Nice. Thanks, Ricky, for taking the time out to send us a note, man. That's really cool. We appreciate it. You're up there competing in the biggest race in the world, and you're like, oh, I'll just send Quinn and Jesse a note. It's pretty nice.
Love it. Yeah. I mean, it's great to hear from these guys, you know, straight from the bivouac. Sometimes it's hard to get information out.
My phone is blowing up with people wondering what happened to Mason Klein.
Well,
like he sent us some stuff, but not usable content yet.
We got some,
but we got some info.
Yeah,
so
we got some insight. But,
tell us.
You know, back to Ricky. I think, you know, at the pointy end of this race right now.
Yeah. Right.
he's really looking forward to just getting through this Chrono stage and you know, limiting any losses that he might have, you know, with Sanders starting behind him.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's in a good position. I think all these guys can ride relatively the same speed. So, you know, if they group up together, you know, the most he's going to lose is a minute, you know, as long as he can stay together. I think he's in a safe spot.
Yeah.
This is his type of terrain. He knows it. He knows that he's going to have to do his work this week. And, you know, while we're in the rocks and the kind of technical stuff. And then once it gets into the dunes, it's, you know, a little more just maintaining limiting damage. So, you know, I think he just has to wait for the other guys to make a mistake and be smart. And
it sounds like he's interested in, you know, staying here, and he enjoys this style of racing better because you don't have those hours and hours of commuting and liaison to the race stages.
Yeah, I mean, nobody likes that. That's hard on everyone, right? You know, you want to, you want to be racing all day. You don't want to be sitting on the highway.
True. Well, good job, Ricky. Thank you again for sending that in. Let's check in with the Hero team. They're always doing a great job sending us updates. And honestly, we're just following them on the Instagram, and it's working really good. They're doing a good job. So we're going to check in with that whole team there, the top guys, Nacho and Mr. Ross Branch.
Hey guys, finished with stage 1. Really tough day opening. I had to open from kilometer 20 or so until the end, so very mentally exhausting, but we did a good job. Lose a little bit of minutes, but I think not that much for opening the stage, so quite happy with the job done. A couple of mistakes, but nothing too serious, so happy with the day overall. A bit sad for my teammate Basti that had to get out of the race for a crash, but I hope he has a quick recovery. So thanks to all the team for the hard work, and we'll keep giving our best day by day.
Yeah, we were right. He started leading at 20 kilometers.
Yep.
That's a big day to be in front.
Yeah, it's a long time opening stage, but, you know, Nacho's always positive, and it seems like he's got such a good attitude. And I think that whole Hero team is probably a pretty cool place to hang out.
Yeah, it looks cool. Let's see what Ross Branch has to say.
Yeah, so that's stage 1 over done with, and it's going to be a long Dakar. If that's what they put us through in such an early stage, it's going to be hectic. But I enjoyed it. Made a couple of stupid mistakes in the beginning, but nothing too serious. It was a lot of dust, so it was the same for everybody. I think we caught up to a lot of groups, and then everybody had to kind of stay in the group until somebody else made a mistake. But here in one piece, and glad to see my teammates okay. So we'll keep pushing. Another long stage tomorrow. We're definitely going to look after the bike, that's for sure, and just enjoy it.
Stupid mistakes by Ross Branch. I think he's being pretty hard on himself.
Yeah, I think Ross is doing okay.
If you want to jump on YouTube right now, if you're not, and watch this video of Ross, you might notice his jersey doesn't look like it's in the best condition after today.
Yeah, I think the guys are a little torn up. It sounded like there's a bunch of thorn bushes, and
look at his shirt.
You know, he's just shredded,
massacred. It looks like he got shot with a shotgun, and that's all that's left on his jersey is just butchered.
There's some video on Instagram of dudes getting, inch-long thorns pulled out of their arms.
Yeah, well, Daniel Sanders had that in his arm for like weeks last year, or a week last year. Yeah.
Yeah, so anything can happen. I mean, one of these little thorns go in on day one, might stick with you for the rest of the race, and could even cause you some problems later on down the road.
What a brutal race, just getting annihilated by the bushes out there.
But it's cool to see this top three, this group of guys that we have here is such a solid group of riders, and they're so tough and gnarly, and I mean, Sanders is the typical Australian, just doesn't care about anything. He's just tough, rugged. Brabec, I mean, broke his leg less than 3 months ago, up there mixing it up. Branch, just hardcore South African guy, right? Like, gnarly,
silent assassin, just waiting to pounce all the time.
It's really fun to see. That definitely it's not princess mode up at the front of this race for sure.
Not anymore.
You want to lead this race, you better be a tough mother.
That's true. And right behind him, Skylar,
another
Tasha,
guy,
Luciano. Those guys are all waiting in the wing here. So I can't wait for this Chrono stage to kick off.
Yeah,
that Chrono stage is going to be exciting
for sure.
You want to get to some Q&A?
Yeah, we could do that. We got a little
give us a Mason Klein
update from Mason. It's pretty cryptic, and we have to decipher exactly what's going on. But what he says is there is basically his worst stage he's ever had, or second worst stage he's ever had. Seems like he lost about 17 minutes according to the GPS data from navigation error. And he had a crash, got a big old bruise on his leg. Went over the bars, clipped his bar on the way over. He said, big bruise, really hurts.
Yeah. So it looks like one of those bushes caught him, number one, threw him on the ground and hurt his leg a little bit, but nothing serious. And he got lost.
Yep. So
it's understandable.
Tough day.
Tough day.
That's rally.
That's how this crazy race goes.
Yep.
Okay. Now do you want to do Q&A?
Okay. We'll see what I can do.
All right. So this is Q&A coming in hot. These are mostly from YouTube. But I did see we finally got comments on Spotify. I didn't know you could have comments on podcasts on Spotify, but there's comments on Spotify. So if you want to leave us some comments, go ahead. But YouTube's a great place for questions. Q&A. The big one people are queued up about is this new KTM, because you teased us saying, oh, there's technology from aliens and stuff in it. So give us some details on what's revolutionary about the new KTM they're riding, since you've had a hand in developing it.
So yeah, I mean, I can't say a ton about the technology used, but it's a whole new chassis design. This is something that, has really never been done for off-road racing. After the struggles the last couple of years, they brought in Wolfgang Felber, who's a longtime KTM chassis designer. He's been working on the MotoGP team for the last several years. And, Wolfgang basically worked with the rally guys to design this new chassis. We went through 2 or 3 different variations. There's, optional stiffeners and, relaxers and adjustability in this chassis. So something really, really cool. The engine package is unbelievable on this bike. They've done some stuff that really, the rideability of the bike and the traction that you have now is like on another level. And I've never ridden an engine like this before, and it's very, very impressive. So,
feels like I should ride it and tell everybody what I think.
You think the last bike is good, right? You think this is the best thing I've ever ridden, and then you get on something new like this, and you don't think there's really that much room to gain, and yeah.
Wow.
Especially in like an engine department,
Really?
Because so the bikes are already so fast.
Yeah, we're not talking comfort or anything. You're just saying like the engine's just got more goodness.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really nice engine package, and I think they have it just really dialed in for the chassis. New chassis. Like I said, there's some stuff that's never been tried before, and it's clearly working out.
And it's been proven, like durability. It's not something that it's going to fall off, a stiffener or whatever you're. I mean, we've
worked on durability here in the U.S. with the rally team. I help coordinate a lot of the durability testing, setting up riders and doing stuff. And we've got hundreds of hours of durability on this new chassis, and they've made refinements and adjustments, and they raced it at Morocco, so it's ready for prime time.
Yeah, it's race proven if it made it through Morocco, and Sanders really put the hammer down. All right, the next question we have is similar maybe, and maybe this is some of the stuff you can't talk about that's on the bike. I don't know what's on the bike because you won't let me ride one yet. You never call me when you're having durability testing. You don't need this kind of durability. I'm just going to be drooling on
average customer pace.
Standard intermediate guy pace. Yeah. Somebody asked the question of, is there a solution in the suspension department to deal with the fuel issue and weight issue that we had talked about before? Is there something that you could develop into the suspension that would compensate for the different weight of the vehicle, basically is the question. And are they adjusting suspension out there during the race to do fuel stuff, or what's on the horizon maybe? And I don't know, what's your idea on suspension and dealing with that weight change?
They're not doing anything not even a clicker compensate, not even a clicker.
Wow.
Really. Maybe some riders at the refueling might adjust a clicker if something's bothering them.
Okay.
But generally, they've tried different automatic preload adjusters over the years, and nothing has really stuck out and worked, and it's just added complexity. So basically they set the bike up for half a tank of fuel.
Yeah, in the middle.
And then it's up to the rider to adjust their riding style to the weight of the bike. Okay. And, there's technology out there, but in rally, it has to be really proven, because you have to, something has to last for 2 weeks. And so, when you start adding in preload adjusters and stepper motors and different drivers and things, then, you run into trouble. I mean, we have this technology on the street bikes, where they automatically adjust preload for weight and load, like on the big adventures, but nothing has really trickled into rally yet.
Okay. So no magic alien tech that, just makes the bike lighter when it's heavier when it's lighter.
Nope.
Okay. Well, I had to ask. The last question, and this is nothing confidential. You can relax now. You can stop sweating. The hare and hound style mass start. We've had these mass starts in rally before. They've been on the beach. They've been, in a couple other spots. And traditionally, like, Americans win these a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I know Jonas Streets won a couple. Jimmy Lewis won a couple of these in Africa. Yep. I think, did Kellen win one, a mass start?
I think he may have, yeah.
I think he won a mass start too. What do you think? There's another one coming up this year, and I think it's late in the race, like stage 11 or 12?
Stage 12, it's the last stage. Okay. So, it's not, I mean, it could be a factor. I think if they really wanted it to be more of a factor, they would do it sooner in the race.
That makes sense, yeah.
But they're dangerous,
Imagine. Yeah, hare and hound start on all rally bikes heading into the turn.
So I'd have to look. I forget if it's the top 10 competitors or 20 competitors, maybe the top 20 competitors.
I thought it was rows of 10.
Is it rows of 10?
I think that's what we read, was that 10 at a time are going to be mass starting. So, it's not 100 people, but still 10.
And then I think there's 10-minute gaps between the rows.
Yeah.
So this will, there's potential for some strategy, right? If you get a guy starting 10 minutes ahead of you on a mass start wave, there's potential to make up several minutes if there's some tricky navigation.
And depending on how long that final stage is going to be, sometimes
most likely,
pretty short.
Yeah, most likely it'll be short and it'll be inverted. So there'll be tracks laid down already, even for the fast guys. So, maybe a factor, but probably not. I know Jimmy Lewis is a big fan of these stages because he's won them before, and he always says, "Oh, if you want to change this up, you gotta have mass starts. Got to have mass starts." Yeah. But they should do it on stage 5 or stage 3 or something if they really want to shake it up.
Yeah. Okay. But good insight. Good insight. Thanks, Quinn. That's all the Q&A hot topics I got for you today. If you guys want to drop something into the comments of any of the platforms, you can find us on Dakar Rally Daily on Instagram. Cycle News YouTube has all these episodes live in it. Just keep them coming. We'll keep answering them.
Yep.
Oh, 2A tomorrow. Man, I'm excited for this marathon stage or this 48-hour chrono stage.
It's going to be interesting. I'm curious. We're not really going to have results tomorrow.
We're going to have this halfway point
standings.
Standing. Yeah. So we're basically going to have to just crunch numbers and look at the map.
Yeah. So I don't know if we can even do predictions on half the stage, but I think that it's going to be these same 3 guys that are up there, barring any kind of mistake from any one of these guys. I think it's going to be the same group. The results, in my mind, on this first half of the stage aren't going to change much from today.
Since we can't really predict who's going to win because there's no winner tomorrow, who do you think is going to be the biggest movers up or down? Who's going to make a move in this thing to really advance their position, and who's going to possibly be a victim of this scenario?
I mean, I think it's going to be very similar to today. I think that the starting
Daniel
order,
Sanders is just going to win again.
Well, yeah. I mean, the starting order is gonna have a big influence. I think that the losers are going to continue to lose, and the leaders are going to continue to gain.
Wow. Okay.
Mason Klein is in a bad spot. He's starting 5th. He may get up and collect some opening bonus, but it's not going to be enough. Okay. Kevin Benavides is starting 6th, so he's going to continue to lose time. And unfortunately, those guys just got off on the wrong foot right in the beginning. And it's gonna be tough for them. Nacho may be able to make back some time. He's starting around 12th, something like that. So, it might be okay for them. But I think the top 10 that we currently have is not going to change much.
Yep, I think everybody from 20 to 12 here to Nacho, that's going to be the top of the race right there, highlighted on the start order.
One guy who finished a little further back and is starting 22nd is Edgar Canet.
Right.
So he's starting actually behind Sanders and, Brabec and Branch. So there's some potential there for him to possibly make up some time if those guys, slow down a little bit. Heating up that Rally 2 competition because he's right behind Tobias Ebster.
Yep. Who's now leading the Rally 2. And those two are really going for that Rally 2 biz.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be a battle, the young rookie and, kind of fighting for Rally 2. So, but he's still clearly got a bit to learn.
Yeah. He's doing a great job. Anything else you want to talk about today before we let these people loose on their Saturday?
I think we're pretty good to go. I'm excited for tomorrow, and
let's do it. All right, keep the questions coming. We'll be here tomorrow morning for Stage 2A results show, and then Monday morning, Stage 2B, back to the real world. We got to get up super early, and also first issue of Cycle News for 2025 is coming out Monday.
Yeah, I have to go to work on Monday morning. Ouch.
Yeah.
I've been off since before Christmas.
Wow, nice. Extended holidays. Yeah. So everybody get back to work, and it's okay to listen and watch this at work. We talk to your boss. It's cool.
Yes.
Shout out to our sponsor, KLIM. Thank you so much for supporting us. Get on the KLIM YouTube, get on the KLIM's Instagram, and follow them around. Also, shout out to Rally Navigator and Baja Rally, BajaRallyMoto.com. Go there and sign up for that race. Thank you to Motominded. Motominded, again, if you need a switch or a headlight for your dirt bike, go check them out. They got some of the smartest products ever made, and they're all made in-house. Chris and the crew making them in-house. Pretty cool stuff. Doubletake Mirror, thank you so much. You make mirrors that just work better on motorcycles. And then check out the NORRA Mexican 1000. That's a spring race coming up in April. Might be a race you want to put on your list.
Yeah, that'd be a fun one. I've always wanted to do the NORRA.
We got to get Jimmy on the show. Let's do it. I got to call that maniac.
Yeah.
Jimmy Lewis.
Should we call him before the mass start stage?
Yes, we should.
Do some predictions.
For sure. Great idea. All right. Thanks, everybody, again. Say goodbye to Quinn. Check. Recording 1, 2. All right. Stage 1, right?
Stage 1.
What stage are we on? Nobody knows.